Okay, so imagine this. You're 10 years old, and your little brother uh, gets bitten by a neighbor's dog.
Oh.
It's scary. It's a chaotic scene,
Yeah.
and you're both upset, and, tears are streaming down your face, but instead of comfort,
Right.
you're met with anger.
Ah,
Your own mother
yes.
accuses you of making your brother feel worse by crying.
Oh my God.
And that's just one
That's awful.
of many chilling moments from Tiffany Reese's childhood. And we're going to unpack it all in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts from her podcast, Something Was Wrong,
Mm,
court documents,
yeah.
news articles, just a whole mountain of information to help us understand her story.
Okay, so it sounds like we're going to be taking a multifaceted approach then.
Right.
We're not just relying on one person's account, but trying to get a more
Yeah,
holistic picture
exactly.
of what happened.
And, it's easy to get lost in the details
Uh-huh.
of a complicated story like this. But I think it's important to remember that statistically speaking, only 2.5% of perpetrators of sexual assault are ever prosecuted and jailed.
Whoa, that's a
And that's a sobering
sobering
number.
age. Yeah.
And it speaks to the larger issue of justice that we'll be exploring as we delve into Tiffany's life.
Okay, so we've got this backdrop of a system that often fails survivors.
Right.
And then we're layering on top of that this really complex family dynamic.
Yeah, and to understand the depth of that trauma, we need to go back to Tiffany's childhood, think constant moves, a volatile home life with abusive parents, and Tiffany being forced to become a caregiver for her younger brother, Bobby, far too early.
Okay, so we're talking about parentification.
Yeah.
That's where a child is forced to take on responsibilities that are really meant for adults.
Right.
It's incredibly damaging.
It can have long-lasting effects.
Exactly.
It's heartbreaking. And Tiffany doesn't shy away from sharing the painful anecdotes of abuse she endured, like that story about the dog bite.
Yeah.
It's a classic example of emotional manipulation and gaslighting.
So for people who might not know, gaslighting is a form of manipulation where someone makes you question your own sanity, your own perception of reality.
Right.
It's like in that scenario, instead of addressing the fear and the pain caused by the dog bite,
Right.
Tiffany's mother twisted the situation to make her the problem.
Yeah, like she was being robbed of her own feelings.
Exactly.
And it wasn't an isolated incident. Tiffany also talks about being forced to attend a weight loss class at just 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine the pressure and humiliation of that?
At 10 years old.
10 years old, and all the while, her mother constantly criticized her appearance.
That's just so damaging to a child's self-esteem, you know?
Yeah,
It plants these seeds of inadequacy that can take years to overcome.
absolutely. And as if that wasn't enough, there was this really distinct family dynamic at play, the golden child, the scapegoat, and Tiffany caught in the middle.
Okay, so this is a classic setup in dysfunctional families. You've got the golden child who can do no wrong, the scapegoat who takes the blame for everything, and then the other children are often left trying to navigate this impossible landscape.
Right. And it wasn't just some unspoken thing. It was very clearly demonstrated in how the parents treated the children.
Right.
We see this stark contrast in the story about Tiffany's older half-brother, Tony, setting a field on fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did the parents react to that?
Well, the consequences Tony faced were drastically different from anything Bobby would have experienced. It solidified those roles, golden child, scapegoat.
So where does that leave Tiffany?
In a difficult position, trying to protect Bobby from the dysfunction while navigating her own pain and confusion.
It's a heavy burden to carry, especially for a child.
Yeah, and all of this is happening while Tiffany is desperately trying to create a stable life for herself. She graduates high school early, gets a job, even starts college. She's relying on the kindness of her friends' families just to have a roof over her head and a moment of peace.
She sounds incredibly resilient,
She is.
like she's driven to break free from the cycle of chaos and build a better life.
Yeah, but as we'll see, the pull of family loyalty is a powerful force.
Oh, I can imagine.
And that's precisely what brings Tiffany back to that toxic environment.
She goes back.
She feels obligated to return home to care for Bobby, even though it means stepping back into the lion's den, so to speak.
So she's sacrificing her own well-being for her brother.
Right.
That's a decision so many people in similar situations face.
It is.
That tug of war between self-preservation and family obligation.
Exactly. And it's often accompanied by immense guilt, no matter which path they choose.
Absolutely.
And just when it seems like things can't get more complicated, another bombshell drops. The FBI raids their home, exposing Bob Tiffany's father for financial crimes.
Oh, wow. So now we're adding another layer of complexity to the story. This
Yeah.
isn't just about family dysfunction anymore. There are legal ramifications.
Imagine the shock that your home invaded your family's secrets laid bare, and the fear of potential legal repercussions, especially with her husband Michael, also working for Bob at the time.
That's a whole lot to process.
It's a whirlwind of events that completely shatters any sense of stability Tiffany had managed to build.
Right. It's like she takes one step forward and then gets knocked back 2 steps.
And sadly, the darkness doesn't let up too. Tiffany soon faces another unimaginable tragedy, Bobby's death. And this is where the story takes an even darker turn. We're no longer dealing with just family dysfunction. We're entering the realm of police brutality and a potential cover-up.
Okay, so this is where things get really serious.
Yeah, because Bobby wasn't just found dead. He was shot and killed by a police officer under very questionable circumstances.
Oh my goodness.
And there were whispers of a witness who contradicts the official police narrative.
Okay, so we've got conflicting accounts of what happened.
Right.
That raises some serious questions about the use of force and accountability within law enforcement.
It's a lot to process. And as if losing her brother wasn't enough, Tiffany then has to contend with her mother, Liv, who seems to be on a mission to rewrite history.
Okay, so how does Liz respond to all of this?
Well, Liz's response to this tragedy is a textbook example of denial and victim blaming. She paints herself as a victim, shifting the blame entirely onto her ex-husband, Bob, while refusing to acknowledge her own role in the family's dysfunction.
Wow, so she's trying to erase the past and create this new narrative that absolves her of any responsibility.
It's as if she's trying to protect her own image, even in the face of this tragedy.
And is anyone supporting her in this?
What makes it even more disturbing is that she has enablers. Her new boyfriend and sponsor are fully on board with this revised version of events, and they're putting immense pressure on Tiffany to conform to their narrative.
So it's like a second wave of abuse.
Yeah.
Tiffany, who's already endured so much,
Right.
is being gaslighted and manipulated again, this time by the people who should be offering her comfort and support.
It's a stark reminder that sometimes the most painful wounds are inflicted by those closest to us.
Absolutely.
We left off with Tiffany facing this unimaginable loss, the loss of her brother.
Right.
And then her mother's attempts to, twist the narrative of their family history.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
It's a situation that would leave anyone reeling, but Tiffany is determined to uncover the truth about what happened to Bobby.
It's really remarkable, despite the grief and the trauma she's enduring.
Yeah.
She channels her energy into finding answers. She's not content to let the official story stand, especially with the whispers of a witness who contradicts the police account of Bobby's death.
And that witness, Ruben, becomes a key figure in her search for justice.
Okay, so what does Ruben have to say?
Well, he claims that the officers involved in the shooting turned off their dash cams before approaching Bobby, which raises huge red flags.
Yeah, that's definitely suspicious. It suggests a deliberate attempt to conceal evidence which could point to a cover-up
Exactly.
within the police department.
But finding Ruben and convincing him to come forward isn't easy. He disappeared shortly after the shooting. And, it's understandable why someone in his position would be hesitant to get involved.
Absolutely. Witnesses in cases like this often face immense pressure and intimidation. They may fear retaliation from law enforcement or simply want to avoid the emotional toll of participating in a legal battle.
Right. It's like a catch-22. You need the witness to expose the truth, but the very act of coming forward can put them at risk.
Exactly.
But Tiffany, she's like a dog with a bone. She's not giving up.
Good for her.
And in a twist of fate, her search for Ruben leads her to uncover a connection that might just change everything.
Oh, wow. What is it?
So she discovers that the lawyer who represented Bobby in a lawsuit against their abusive neighbor is living in her own community.
What are the chances?
Talk about a small world.
Yeah.
And what's even more intriguing is that this lawyer specializes in cases of police brutality, particularly those involving the LAPD. It's like the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall into place.
So she now has access to someone with expertise in this area, someone who understands the intricacies of the legal system and the tactics often used to silence victims and protect law enforcement.
Exactly. And this lawyer, she's not afraid to talk about the elephant in the room, police gangs.
Oh, wow.
It turns out there's a long and disturbing history of these gangs operating within the LAPD.
Yeah, it's a chilling reality that's often swept under the rug. These groups operate with a code of silence and a sense of impunity that allows them to engage in misconduct and violence without fear of consequences.
It's like a brotherhood of corruption.
Yeah.
And Tiffany starts to suspect that the officer who killed Bobby might be a member of one of these gangs.
Okay, so now her search for justice is suddenly intertwined with this much larger fight against systemic corruption within law enforcement.
Right, and this raises even more questions about the motivations behind Bobby's shooting and the subsequent cover-up. If the officer was acting as part of a gang, it adds another layer of complexity and makes the pursuit of justice even more challenging.
Absolutely. It's a David and Goliath scenario, you know. Tiffany, a grieving sister seeking answers, is going up against this powerful institution that has a history of protecting its own, even when they've crossed the line.
It's a daunting task, to say the least.
So,
But Tiffany's determination, fueled by her love for Bobby and her unwavering belief in the truth, keeps her going.
it's inspiring. You know, she's not just fighting for Bobby. She's fighting for accountability, for transparency, for a system that values justice over protecting those who abuse their power.
And as Tiffany dives deeper into this world of police gangs and corruption, she uncovers even more disturbing information. It turns out that the officer who killed Bobby was actually promoted after the shooting.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's just unbelievable. Instead of being held accountable for their actions,
Right.
these officers are often rewarded, which sends a clear message that the system condones their behavior.
It's infuriating. It feels like a slap in the face to Tiffany and to everyone who believes that Bobby deserves justice. But even in the face of such blatant disregard for human life, Tiffany finds strength in her resilience and the support of those who believe her story.
You know, her journey resonates with countless others who have experienced similar trauma and injustice.
It does.
She becomes this voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a system that often feels broken.
And her search for answers doesn't just focus on the legal aspects of the case.
Yeah.
She starts to connect the dots between Bobby's death and the larger issue of police brutality, particularly the targeting of people of color.
So this is where her personal story transcends the individual
Yeah.
and intersects with this broader movement for social justice. She uses her platform to raise awareness about police brutality, racial profiling, and the systemic problems within law enforcement that allow these injustices to continue.
She's not content with just seeking justice for Bobby. She wants to create meaningful change to prevent other families from experiencing the same pain and loss.
That's powerful. You know, her story is a powerful reminder that we can't be complacent in the face of injustice.
Right.
We have a responsibility to speak up, to challenge the status quo, and to demand better from those in power.
And as Tiffany prepares to face the LAPD in court with Ruben's testimony as her key weapon, their stakes are incredibly high. Will the truth finally come to light? Will those responsible for Bobby's death be held accountable? We'll delve into the dramatic legal battle and its far-reaching consequences in Part 3 of this deep dive. We've been following Tiffany's journey as she uncovers layers of family trauma and confronts a system that seems determined to silence her. She's gathered evidence, found a crucial witness, and is ready to face the LAPD in court. The stakes are high, and the fight for justice is about to enter a critical phase.
Yeah, it's a pivotal moment. We've talked about the challenges of holding law enforcement accountable, especially when it involves powerful institutions like the LAPD. But with Ruben ready to testify and expose the potential cover-up, there's a glimmer of hope that the truth might prevail.
It's a classic David and Goliath story. You know, Tiffany, armed with her determination and the courage of her convictions, is taking on a system that often seems impenetrable. But as we know, even the most formidable walls can crumble when faced with unwavering persistence and the undeniable power of truth.
And it's not just about winning this particular case, right? It's about setting a precedent, sending a message that those who abuse their power, regardless of their badge or position, will be held accountable.
It's about changing the system from within, forcing those in authority to confront the deep-seated problems of corruption and misconduct that have plagued law enforcement for far too long.
Tiffany's fight is a fight for all of us, for a society where justice is truly blind, where the scales are balanced, and where every voice is heard and valued.
But as the legal battle unfolds, Tiffany encounters a harsh reality. You know, the system she's up against is designed to protect its own, even when evidence of wrongdoing is clear. She faces delays, legal maneuvering, and a sense that those in power are closing ranks to protect the officers involved.
This is where the emotional toll of this fight becomes even more apparent. Tiffany is not only dealing with the grief of losing her brother, but also the immense pressure and frustration of navigating a legal system that often seems rigged against her.
It's a constant uphill battle, but she refuses to back down. She knows what's at stake, not just justice for Bobby, but the possibility of creating meaningful change that could prevent other families from enduring similar tragedies.
And that's what sets her apart, right?
Yeah.
She's not just seeking a legal victory, she's on a mission to expose the systemic flaws that allow police brutality and corruption to thrive.
But despite her unwavering commitment, the legal battle takes an unexpected turn. The district attorney's office, after reviewing the evidence and hearing Ruben's testimony, decides not to press charges against the officers involved in Bobby's death.
Oh, wow. That's a devastating blow after all of Tiffany's efforts.
I know.
The system she was hoping would deliver justice fails her in a profound way.
It's a stark reminder of the power imbalances at play and how difficult it is to hold law enforcement accountable, especially when the victim is a person of color.
Right. It reinforces the sense that there are two sets of rules, one for those in power and another for everyone else.
The decision not to prosecute feels like a betrayal, a validation of the very system Tiffany is fighting against. But in a moment that reveals her incredible strength and resilience, she refuses to let this defeat define her.
It's a testament to her character. She could have easily given up, succumbed to the weight of the system and the emotional exhaustion of the fight. But instead, she chooses to channel her pain and anger into something constructive.
She shifts her focus from seeking individual justice to advocating for systemic change. She uses her platform to raise awareness about police brutality, the lack of accountability within law enforcement, and the need for comprehensive police reform.
So her personal tragedy becomes a catalyst for a broader movement,
Right.
a rallying cry for those who believe in a more just and equitable society.
She joins forces with other families who have lost loved ones to police violence, amplifying their voices and demanding that their stories be heard.
And through her activism, she begins to dismantle the wall of silence that often protects law enforcement from scrutiny.
Right.
She educates the public, challenges those in power, and inspires others to join the fight for change.
Her journey is a powerful reminder that justice isn't always served in a courtroom. Sometimes the most impactful victories are won outside the legal system through tireless advocacy, unwavering determination, and the courage to challenge the status quo.
Tiffany's story is an inspiration to us all. It teaches us that even in the face of immense adversity, we have the power to make a difference. We can raise our voices, demand accountability, and work to create a world where tragedies like Bobby's death are not just mourned, but become catalysts for meaningful and lasting change.
So what can you, the listener, take away from this deep dive?
Yeah, what can they take away?
It's a story of heartbreak, resilience, and the ongoing struggle for justice, but it's also a call to action.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable society. Educate yourself about the issues, engage in conversations, support organizations working for change, and hold those in power accountable for their actions.
Don't be afraid to speak up against injustice, even when it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient, because silence is complicity, and every voice matters in the fight for a better world.
Tiffany's story shows us that even small acts of courage and resistance can have a ripple effect, creating waves of change that can transform our communities and our institutions.
So let's honor Bobby's memory and Tiffany's unwavering commitment to justice by taking action, by demanding better, and by working together to create a world where everyone feels safe, valued, and protected.